Hello class, one more topic for week 4 I wanted to keep in a separate little video. It is rather important and I just wanted to make you all aware of it. It is called the CSS Box Model. So if we look in our book in chapter 4.8, there's a section called Box Model, and it's probably easiest just to bring this piece up here on the screen and talk to this, as this is a pretty good summary of what the box model actually is. So what the box model is, it's a very important concept in web design and layout. It describes how every element on a web page is treated as a rectangular box. And it's 4 distinct layers, as we can see on the picture on the screen. We have the inner content section. That is either your text or your image or whatever. That is the content. Around the content is the padding, and that adds space between the content and the border. And finally, not finally, but then we have the border section. And the border is the outline. And you could see, for example, here we have an outline here. That would be the border section. And then we have the margin. And the margin is as if it was any other sheet of paper. You have the margins on the outside. So you have the margin surrounding the entire HTML element. So essentially this is an HTML element and how it's represented to the browser and all the different parameters. So we need to understand how we can manipulate some of these settings with CSS to adjust the sizes of the padding, the border, the margin, and even the content to suit our needs. And there are a lot of great properties and a lot of great examples coming up. So we have the padding property, which allows us to create different size padding. PX is pretty much a standard of how we adjust the size. We have a border property and we have a margin property. And all these can apply to any of the other CSS selectors and tags that we saw in the previous video and earlier in the book. So there are some rules about how the boxes are drawn, and it says here right above section 4.8.1, the content is displayed with a background according to the element's background color. So whatever color we decide that we want to have our element, that's the color it's going to be displayed. The padding is transparent and will be displayed using the same color as the ML element's background. So the padding is an extension of the color of the element in the content. The border, as we saw in some of the previous examples, the border can either be transparent or colored, and if it is transparent, it also matches the element's padding. And finally, the margin will be transparent and displayed using the background color. And we can see here some examples of how that is all laid out. And you can see you have your padding, your margin, and your border, and the appropriate image according with it. This is a pretty good example here and shows how we can have different border sizes and different dimensions across the box model. Everything doesn't have to be centered. So you see we have the margin, which is the outer. We have a 40 and a 30, 40 and 30. We have the padding, the 20 and the 50 and a 40. And then we have the inner color. So you could see you can have different versions of, or different sizes of margins and spacing inside the box to make it look the way you want it to. And you can have additional control by specifying a dash top, dash left, dash bottom, or dash right suffix to either of those properties to get a little more granular if you want to specify for in one individual side. As shown here, you could have a left border of size 5 pixels with a solid dark cyan background, which is this little dark stripe here on the left, the border left. You have your margin right set to 30. You have your padding top set to 20. The padding is above the content, and the background color. So you can really get granular on how you want things to look. And it makes it a little more eye appealing when you have that control. And finally, you also have the ability to control the content width. and change this and the size of the actual content block itself with simple width and height parameters. And you could see you can control the size. We have the green box here with a width and height of 200 and 100. And you have the bigger box here with a width of 200 and 100. The difference between the two is we also have some padding added in on the bigger box down here of 50. So it also adds, so that computes to the increased size that we see here on the screen. Okay, the last piece that we have in this section, and I really don't want to get into this piece yet, I'll probably save this for a separate video, is the development tools in Chrome, where you can see how images are laid out in a way of inspecting what the browser is actually doing. I don't think we're quite ready for that yet. I just want you all to be aware that you can adjust the size of the different borders and pixels and sizes and margins and all that good stuff. And you also have some additional border styles here that you can tinker around with. And it gives you some examples of what it looks like. So that's it for the box model. It is a fairly powerful concept with a very simple set of controls to modify. So I'll let that sink in. Definitely check it out, read through this section, take a look at the different properties that are associated with it, and try it. Try some different content with some of these different options and see how it affects your code. Okay, that's it. Quick video for now. See you in the next one.